Wow, what a night. Sean Strickland pulls off one of the probably the biggest upset of the year, one of the biggest upsets in UFC history, and he outstrikes one of the greatest strikers we have ever seen in Israel Adesanya. A crazy night. He even hit him with a hard right hand and dropped him, hurt him. Looked like it could be it. And then Izzy rallied back, of course, winning that second round. But then after that, just all Sean Strickland. That second round was really the only thing Izzy had going for him. And it looked like he was just a step behind. It looked like he couldn't really get things going. But Sean Strickland pulled out the mega win. So let's talk about how he got it done. So first, we got to start talking about this build-up, man. This build-up, it wasn't as big. A lot of people, to be honest, that Australia crowd was really pro Sean Strickland. I don't know if they just dislike Israel Adesanya because they're pro Robert Whittaker or what it is. They were very pro Sean Strickland, a lot more than what I was expecting. And, you know, this fight pretty much went as I thought it would go in a way. I thought that Sean Strickland was going to fight a very methodical fight. He wasn't going to take any risk. I know a lot of people wanted a war. I know Sean Strickland was saying, you know, this is going to be like the Kelvin Gastelum fight. This is going to be a war. But going into this fight, I knew Strickland was going to fight safe because if you look at the buildup of Israel Adesanya from the beginning of his UFC career to where he is now, the reason why Izzy got all those knockouts early on is because no one respected the power. They saw a taller, skinny guy. They didn't respect the power, and they went in there, fought recklessly, got caught, and got knocked out cold. And then, as you saw, you know, you can see that big difference with the Robert Whittaker fights. If you look at that first Robert Whittaker fight, he went in there reckless, rushing, trying to bull rush Israel. He got caught with a check hook and got knocked out. That second fight, he fought a lot more methodical, had much more of a strategy going into that fight. And he did a much, much better job. A lot of people thinking that he even won that fight. So you can see that, you know, as these fighters are, you know, fighting more and more, they're getting more film on them. There's fighters, you're fighting at the top level, man. These guys are going to study you. They're going to know your every move. They're going to see all these holes and they're going to exploit them. And that's exactly what Sean Strickland did. And you can see from that right hand, Izzy went for that left hook. Straight shots beat looping ones all day, every day. And Sean caught him clean. There's no telling. Only Israel really knows how really hurt he actually was. We don't really know if that was just a little flash knockdown, if that was a serious knockdown where Israel was actually hurt. But nonetheless, Sean Strickland had the best moment of the fight by far. And really the key to this fight is Sean Strickland's defense. Take a look at this. This right here is what won Sean Strickland the fight. By far, without a doubt. His defense. Man, what a night for him. What a night he had. So look, you can see right here, already, I was saying this on stream too, Israel Adesanya 100% threw more than Sean Strickland. He was throwing way more. He just couldn't land it. And you can see right here, he was only 94 of 271. Sean Strickland being 137 of 259. So you could see, Izzy threw more. He just couldn't land it. And he couldn't land nearly as much as what Sean Strickland was landing. And that jab from Sean Strickland was money all night. That jab, and he literally beat Izzy with a 1-2. That's all he beat him with. He was just marching forward, stalking him down, throwing that jab out there, landing it clean, and then every now and then landing the right hand. But yeah, Sean Strickland's defense, it was just on another level, right? And it's such a deceiving thing, right? Because he stands straight up. He has that weird stance where he stands straight up and he holds his hands up like this and he throws up like a little bit of a Philly shell. And, you know, it's so deceiving because he looks like he has a lot of openings. But then when Israel would throw, Sean isn't really known for his head movement, but he was utilizing good head movement. His head movement, honestly, is very underrated because he was showing really, really good head movement. And I like how we seen the adjustment from Sean Strickland. Instead of doing that leaning back stuff where he got caught against Pereira on the chin and got dropped, he was actually taking like a little half step back. So instead of leaning back, he was just stepping back. So he would just be right out of danger. And Izzy was missing him by like inches, man, inches. This is a real game of inches. And every time Izzy would throw, Sean would parry it. So it would just go whoop, right by, whoop, right by him. Every time, every head kick, every hook, he would whoop, block it, be ready to block, be ready to block. Sean Strickland was just in his bag. He was in his rhythm. Sean looked like another level, man. And with this guy being the champion, we're in for some crazy moments in the UFC, man. We are in for some crazy moments. So now after this loss, the question is Izzy starting to fall off? And I think asking that question is a little bit disrespectful towards Sean Strickland in a way, right? Just because Sean Strickland went out there, he fought an amazing fight. You know what I mean? I don't want to say, yeah, Izzy's past it, and, you know, because that kind of takes away from the win. I just think Sean Strickland was ahead. You know, any of you guys that have played a sport before, it don't matter what sport it is. You all know there's some days where you're really feeling it, you're in your rhythm, and everything's going right for you. And there's just some days where you're off. And on this day, Israel Adesanya just looked a little bit off. But it's hard to say how off he really looked because Sean Strickland he looked so good. His defense was too good, man. Izzy couldn't hit him. He couldn't touch him. And you can see, look at their faces at the end of the fight. Izzy's eye was swelling. His nose was bleeding. His mouth was bleeding. And Sean Strickland looked like he just went for a little jog. There was no redness, no bruising, no nothing. You know, Sean Strickland just fought an amazing fight. And I don't want to say Izzy is past it because that would take away from the win. This is a huge win for Sean Strickland, man. I know some people are going to say that just because, you know, no one was expecting him to win, especially in this manner. If people were giving Sean Strickland a chance, it was by wrestling. And, you know, for him to win in this manner, I could see why people might say, oh, Izzy's clearly past it, but he's not, in my opinion. I don't think he is at all. I just think Strickland went out there. Izzy had an off night, and Strickland went out there and took advantages of the openings that he had set in front of him. And Strickland went out there and he won this fight. And, you know, that end of that fifth round, Strickland looked like he wanted it more. Izzy looked like he just wasn't there. And, you know, it's a big win for Sean Strickland. Man, and this is why I say you gotta be delusional in this sport, man, because let's be honest, how many people out there really thought Sean Strickland was gonna win this fight? And by striking and winning 4 rounds to 1. How many people out there thought that this was gonna happen? But this is why you need to have faith in yourself, man. You need to if you want to do this sport. And this is why the sport is such an amazing sport. Combat sports are the best sports in the world because they're so unpredictable. You think you know it all, and the next thing you know, it flips on your ass. So it's so unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen. Sean Strickland is a new middleweight champion, and it's crazy to say that. So now also leads the question. What is next? Dana White has already said he would like a rematch, but I'm an Israel Adesanya fan, right? I love the guy, but in my opinion, I think Dricus du Plessis should fight Sean Strickland. I think that fight would be a crazy fight. I do not think that fight would go to the judges. It would be just a bloody war. You want to see a war? Dricus du Plessis and Sean Strickland will be a war, and there's no doubt about that. So I don't know if I want to see the Israel Adesanya rematch. I mean, maybe, but to be honest, I would like to see Izzy fight the winner between Khamzat Chimaev and Paulo Costa. That's a big matchup coming up in a few weeks. So I would like to see Israel fight the winner of that fight. And then maybe if he wins, then he can get back in the title mix. But I just love the Sean Strickland Dricus du Plessis fight. I think that fight is just going to be too entertaining. It's not, of course, these guys aren't super popular, so the money fight would be Israel Adesanya. But if you're looking at like stylistically, Dricus and Sean Strickland is just such a good fight, man. It's such a good fight, and I would love to see this fight. I would love to see it. I don't know how the pay-per-view will do, but if they stack it, it could do really well, and we can get an amazing fight in the middleweight division. Thank you all for tuning in for the stream. It was a really great night. A lot of knockouts, a lot of finishes. A lot of people were saying this was probably one of the worst UFC cards on paper in a long time, but they fucking delivered. We got finish after finish, crazy fight after crazy fight. So, hey, this is why you can't judge a book by its cover when it comes to the UFC. These fights, yeah, they might not look good on paper, but man, what a night. What a night. But appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. I'll catch you in the next video.